Hine matzov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matzov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matzov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matzov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Hine matzov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matzov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Page 124. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to live to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest self. Now we, in our turn, come into the sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, and flaws within our human heart, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. Boy, has it been a long week. It's so nice to see all of you here. It's a pleasure every single time to lead you in worship. And I'm joined this evening by our own Dr. Dave McFarland, and of course on the bima by our co-presidents Lynn Weinstein and Betty Adams. If you don't know me, or you're joining with us virtually and you don't know me, I am student cantor Daniel Geigerman. Feel free to call me whatever you want, though. Although, what's that old joke? Not late for dinner? Yeah, okay. It is my pleasure to invite our co-president Betty Adams to bring some light into our life at this time, to light our Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Please work. I don't do well with matches. Obviously, or with these. Oh, come on.
You use it.
Yeah, I could do that.
There we go.
If at first you don't succeed. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher Kiddushanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu Hadlik Ner Shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Uh-oh. That's not good. Just put that there. You didn't see anything. We now turn to page 122 and 123 to bring in the sweetness of Shabbat with the Kiddush. Erev boker yom hashishi, vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzva'am, vayichal Elohim vayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa, vayishbor vayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa, vayivarech et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto, hivo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. Hihu yom techila lemikraye kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim. V'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim. It's been a while since I've been up here alone. It is, huh? You didn't know you were coming to a comedy show tonight. No. What I mean to say that these opportunities to pray and to learn with all of you are 1 in a million. Every single week I win the lottery. And I want to share with you this past week I started back in my seminary, back in classes. And we were talking about how our holidays went. And we were checking in with everyone. And everyone was just so happy to see each other, even if it was just on Zoom, just to see each other's faces. And I think that's what we crave, and I think that's what we lost a lot during those years we don't talk about. We missed that connection. And to see you all joining here with us this evening is a blessing beyond explanation. And I want you to remember that when you leave here, that every person you see in your life, to be able to see them face to face is a gift. So with that in mind, let us turn to page 138 to welcome the spirit of Shabbat, the Sabbath bride, not necessarily face to face, but heart to heart. And as is our usual tradition, we will be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, rising before the 9th verse. Lecha dodi likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Ishmi'anu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shemo tiveret v'litchila lecha dodi Likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi Likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki mekor habracha Merosh mikedem nesucha So v'aseh b'mashav achila lecha dodi Likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorevri kiva ore kumi ori uri shir daberi yevod Adonai elektigla lecha dodi likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala Gam b'simcha u'vetzola Toch emunei am segula Boi chala Lecha dodi likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat gala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Take a moment, look around, find somebody that you haven't seen face to face this week and say hello. Hello, hello. We continue on page 140. You may be seated for now. We continue on page 140 with the words of Mizmor Shir. Mizmor Shir leyom haShabbat Tov lehodo l'Adonai Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Mizmor Shir leyom haShabbat Tov lehodo l'Adonai Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon Lehagid b'boker chastecha Ve'emunatcha b'leilot Alei asor v'alei navel Alei higayon bechinor Mizmor Shir leyom haShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. It is good to praise Adonai in song. Now that we have welcomed the presence of Shabbat into our midst, let us enter into the beginning of our service proper by turning to page 146 and rising for the Baruch Hu. Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai, yai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai, yai dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Please be seated. We turn to page 148 as we read together in the English. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. We turn the page to page 151 at the top, reading together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We turn the page as we rise to say the Shema, declaring that God is one forever and ever. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam. be seated. We read together on page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Adonai Elohechem emetz. So, whenever I see a congregation singing along, especially this congregation, singing along to something like Lecha Dodi, and I see people looking around going, can I clap? You can clap. Clap along, dance along, do whatever you want, especially with things like upcoming, like the Michamocha. If it moves you to, we got this whole room right behind the sanctuary, that if you wanted to go back there and dance along, guess what? That's your way of praying, and pray away. So, let us read together at the top of 157 and take the last paragraph to heart as we introduce our prayer, the Michamocha. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. We turn the page for Michamocha. Ya bye bye bim biddy bye, ya bye bye bim bam, ya bye bim biddy bye, ya bye bim bam, I die, ya bye bim bam, I die, ya bye bim bam, mi chamocha baili Madonai, mi chamocha nehedar Kodesh no ratehi lo do sefele no ratehi lo do sefele mahalechutecha rahu vanecha bokei hayam livnei Moshe uMiriam ze Eli anu ve'ameru Adonai Loch leolam ba'ed ya bye bim biddy bye ya bye bim bam ya bye bim biddy bye ya bye bim bam I die ya bye bim bam I die ya bye bim bam. Let us read together at the bottom of page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapore sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, u'shmor tzeiteinu voleinu, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, u'shmor tzeiteinu uvoleinu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen. We turn the page, and in celebration of the Shabbat, of this Shabbat, we sing together the words of Vishamru, which teach us these two ideas to not only to keep Shabbat here in Vishamru, but we also guard Shabbat. One of the reasons why we have two candles for Shabbat is to remember and to keep the Sabbath and to keep it holy. And this is where one of those commandments comes from. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. See, this is what I'm talking in. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledoratam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, V'shambru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, La'asot et ha-Shabbat, L'doretam berit olam. Let us turn to page 164 and rise as a congregation for Tefillah, the Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We now take this moment for our own silent prayer. You may be seated now or whenever you are ready. Say Adonai Eloheinu Me'amecha Yisrael U'tefilata me'ahava tikabel U'tehil ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Koreyav Penei Elavadecha Vechonenu Shifach Ruchacha V'techezena einenu meshuvecha leTzion merachamim Baruch atah Adonai HaMachazir Shechinato Letzion. We ask now that you turn your thoughts to those in our community and beyond who are in need of a little extra healing of the body, of the mind, and of the soul, and those who we remember today, the anniversary of the Tree of Life. We ask for that healing to be sent to their surviving families in this horrible time of remembrance for them. You are thinking of someone in your thoughts. We ask you to give life to them by stating their name out loud at this moment. And those of you joining with us virtually, please say the names of those who you are thinking of as well. With all those in mind, and even those who we do not know about, who may be dealing with struggles that they keep hidden, we offer this prayer to them as well. Mi sheberach avoteinu, mi sheberach imoteinu, heal us and heal our world. Mi sheberach avoteinu, mi sheberach imoteinu, Heal us and heal our world. We pray for health and healing of body and spirit and mind, and for all who suffer, may their pain go away in good time. Misha berach avotenu, Misha berach imotenu, heal us and heal our world. Misha berach avotenu, Misha berach imotenu, heal us and heal our world. Heal our world indeed. Whenever somebody asks me, what's your favorite music? I always find it a very hard answer to give. Not because I think it's on par with who's your favorite child, and it should never be asked or answered, but our tastes change throughout our lives. We don't like the same things we did when we were young. Some of us do. I mean, I still like things like Pokemon, but that's beside the point. But whenever somebody asks, what's your favorite music? And I said, anything that touches my soul. I mean, that's, I think, the best answer that I can give. If you had talked to me years ago when I was in my late teens, I would have said that one of my favorite artists was Kanye West. Now you see where we're going. So, the question is, do I still like his old music? I'm not a fan of his new music. It's far too, I think I'm a prophet type of music. But his old music had like text that meant something to him, the composer of these poems that he put to rap and put to music. It had heart in them, and I could connect with that. And somebody asked me, well, do you still like Kanye West's music? I said, you know what? I still like his old music. So we had a similar issue with Shlomo Carlebach in the Jewish sphere. When all of the information about the sexual allegations came out against Shlomo Carlebach, a lot of people stopped singing his music. Here's the thing. It wasn't his anymore. It was ours. When any artist gives their craft out into the public, it no longer becomes just theirs. It becomes part of us. It becomes part of our lives. It becomes part of, in Carlebach's music, it becomes part of our Jewish identity. And a lot of people were struggling for years and years, and some people to this day still do not sing Carlebach's music. Again, my belief, it's no longer the composers. But what happens when somebody writes a tweet that says, let's go Death Con 3 on the Jewish people? What happens when somebody writes, they better shape up or else? how do we respond? Do we respond in meek tones saying, that's not really nice? Or do we say what's in our heart, the hurt, the feeling of being crushed? Do we say, how dare you speak about my people that way? How do we respond? And it's difficult because in some cases, you got two sides yelling at each other, no one's listening. But in other cases, if our response is too metered, it's not seen as authentic. So I offer you this. How do you feel right now? This is an open space. How do you feel about the things that have come out recently, the increased, horrified, terrible, angry. What? Depressed. Yes, it is depressing. Frightened. Frightened.
Outraged.
Outraged. Unfortunately, not surprised. Now, my next question. How do you feel about the response of some of our leadership in the world? There was nothing. Well, we can't say that Adidas dropped Kanye West like a hard rock in water, but it was a little late. It was a little late, but it happened. So there was this sense of, we had a sense of justice for a moment. They threw it against the wall. Their response was, let's see what sticks. If they condemned it, like it's usually a progression. They condemn it, then it's something in between, and then it's bye-bye. They split. It's usually that sort of progress, where it needs to be stopped right at the start, don't you think? How? Huh? Yeah. Here. It's money versus morality. You somehow got exactly to the point of what I'm getting to. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was read about this, so obviously in the past couple of days, and Germany treated this much better than our own country has.
Yeah.
You know, they dropped Adidas Adidas dropped them like a bad habit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, they lost like couple billion dollars or something.
And
in
it
profit.
was
instantaneous.
right away.
Yeah, they're more devout and respectful of Judaism than
Well, and
United
they
States
also
is,
have
in their way.
laws against Nazism, specifically, against symbolism and the spread of... Lynn? Did you? Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's good to get curious about why. Like,
Yes.
okay.
It's got to go closer.
It's good to get curious about like why, because just cutting someone off isn't
Yes.
necessarily going to stop the problem.
Exactly.
And it's
So
not- yeah.
let me explain in a way. Let me use what I've done this past week or this past month. So this past month, I have been scouring the internet for all of these like YouTube clone websites that have people who speak about this type of hatred. You might have heard of one of them, goyimtv.tv. Okay? So This is a website where it's like hatred incarnate. But I spent the majority of my free time over this past month listening to various videos off of these websites. It is disturbing. Not only like the rhetoric, but it's surprising how little the rhetoric shows in the video. Like if you were to take a percentage of like how much is anti-Semitism versus how much is misdirection. The anti-Semitism is about this much of the video, whereas the misdirection or using things that will bring a person in which seem to be logical conversations or logical points, but there are logical fallacies behind them, but they're disguised as truth. So you have these people not only saying these bad things, but manipulating people into feeling these things such as anger and hatred. And what are they angry at? They're angry at the other. And in fact, from this Torah portion this week, Noach, we get what are called, we get the start of what are called the Noahide laws, the laws that the Gentile were supposed to follow, which include things like don't steal, don't murder, create a community around a justice system, sort of things. But here's the problem, is that when you demonize a group, when you put them in a category of other, or in Hebrew what we would term as ger, gimel resh, there's a whole evolution of the term ger. If you want to know that, come see me. But it's come to mean the other or the stranger, right? Soon in our Torah, we'll be talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. And people talk about, oh, yeah, well, Sodom and Gomorrah, they were destroyed because of homosexuality. Why? Because Sodom sounds like sodomy. No, I'm sorry. But Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because they did not take care of what we are commanded to take care of as Jews, the poor, the widowed, and the stranger among us. We are taught that the other is not something to be feared, but something to be welcomed into our community. But this sense of nationalism that is on the rise in our country, they're mutually exclusive. You can't take care of the others while also claiming to be nationalistic. It's impossible. To take care of other people around you is human. To want people to survive in your group, in your society, is human. It goes by the law of nature. Nationalism is something we came up with. And it's not, and I'm going to say this, it's not only like fascism, national fascism, but it's seen this whole nationalistic identity of we should come first, we should always come first, we don't care about other people. It's not only America, it's not only these other countries. Guess where it also occurred? It's in our past. It's in Judaism's past. Some say it's in Judaism's present in Israel. That's a whole other topic. But how do we take care of the others in our communities while being treated like others in our community? These responses that we give to these anti-Semitic attacks are important. How do we respond? Are we doing enough? I don't know. But I do know this, that this community who is here supports each other. And I know the vast majority of you, and I know your hearts, and I know you take care of the others in your communities. But I think we need to do a little bit more. I think we need to reach out a little bit more. Andy?
I don't know if this is right or not, but I feel that a lot is not done about anti-Semitism because we are such the minority
Mm-hmm.
that I think if this was other issues, I think there would be more attention to it. But because we're the minority, it's not attention done.
I say there's a reason fentanyl is becoming such a problem. It's because it's starting to affect non-minority communities. Yes.
I think that if you take a look at certain movement, if you take a look at certain movements where people where you couldn't say Christmas, and there was, there was a movement towards Christianity as well, and there's certainly a majority of people, but I think that it's not just minorities. While the Jews are a very, very small minority and very easy to pick on.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bigger movement by some of the cultures in the United States, or the movements of the United States.
Well, we've gotten away from our founding tradition of separation between church and state. Yes. Yes.
Big difference, nationalism versus patriotism.
There
To
is.
me, nationalism is, I'll use an example, Deutschland über alles.
Mm-hmm.
Patriotism is America the Beautiful, or God Bless America. There's a difference there in how
Yeah.
you're setting it.
Yeah, a difference between saying that everything that this country does is right versus I love this country, but it has some flaws. And it's okay to point those out, and it's okay to discuss them. It does not mean you're not patriotic. Same thing goes with other countries as well. You have something?
There is something that we as a congregation can do, and you initiated that a little bit this evening, Cantor Dan. I had a conversation with one of our regional representatives from the ADL Southeast Florida this week. And here at Temple Sinai, we are going to develop an ADL advocacy committee. It is essential that we do this right now. Anti-Semitism is not isolated, and it's not scattered. It is growing rapidly. And as a congregation, as a Jewish community, we are all responsible for empowering ourselves and teaching our children that they can be strong in the face of this growing anti-Semitism. So we will be initiating a committee before too long, and later in the spring, our adult education committee has invited a representative to come in and speak not just to this congregation, but also to our community. It is so important because there is this belief that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, and it is anti-Semitism, and it's escalating.
Oh. Here we go. You pressed it.
Will feel free to say what they want now,
Yeah,
where they
no,
didn't
no,
in other
I-
days. Therein lies the difference.
I agree that it's growing the same way that autism grew. It's because we had a better understanding of what it actually was. It didn't just come out all of a sudden when we started giving kids vaccines. We just developed a word for it. We just developed a whole system about it. And so, my charge to you all is, even if you see the smallest bit, abyssal, point it out. Point it out. Like if it's your friend saying something that is rooted in anti-Semitism, just say, hey, man, that's, if you want to know this is what that really means to like my community, and it hurts when you say it, it's a great way to start. If they keep doing it, then you get more forceful and stuff like that. But things like the QAnon movement, which is based on blood libel, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And it's hard, it's difficult. And I wanted to give, this whole evening, I wanted to give you all a chance to sort of talk and get out some of your frustration, because I know it's very difficult to go out and to be with friends who are not Jewish and talk about this stuff, because sometimes I know it's happened to me. They turn to you and say, will you stop playing the victim? I mean, they're just words. I'm like, no, it's not just words.
Similarly, you have people who try to tell you that we should get over the Holocaust.
Yes.
But combining this with what you're saying specifically, is the latest report that I saw this week was there were an average of 200 anti-Semitic incidents per day in Germany. And the other part with Adidas is people forget that they were rooted in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
So they had a specific obligation, and it took them weeks before they recognized it.
Adidas, Volkswagen, all of those.
Now, to go back to Kanye, whatever his name is, for a moment.
Apparently, he changed his name to Yi.
The ironic part was, first of all, his agent is Jewish, and second of all, he decided, one of his agents, his former agent.
And his trainer.
And his
was-
trainer.
yes.
And then he went, the chutzpah, to go into Skechers, which is owned by a Jewish boy from Dorchester that he grew up with.
Oh, and they see, that's what you do. You remove them without instant say bye. You're not even on our radar, right? I think Andy or
Something very interesting, though, happened in our community. Kind of the opposite. One of our friends moved in who happens to be of the Christian faith.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to us, I was going to move. Why? Because when I went to the pool, somebody said, what is that you're wearing around your neck? Don't you know they're all Jews that live here? Turn it into a star. He was devastated, and he said, I wanted to move, but he got to know more and more people through pickleball, and he decided to stay. But I was mortified. I thought that was so disgraceful that a Jew would say that.
yeah. So and if you see Jewish people, being non-welcoming or step up and don't talk to them. Step in between and say, I'm sorry. Let me show you around. Let me welcome you into our community. And don't pay attention to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Just sort of, I hate it. Did we have, yes.
The other night, we watched the Tree of Life documentary on HBO. I suggest everybody watch that. They made no big mention of the perpetrator who killed the 11 people at the synagogue, and it was interviews of the survivors and the courage that they had. It was really heartwarming what they are living through to this day. That it was a horrible, horrible moment for us.
Yeah.
I think you're not going to change anybody's mind if they're
No.
anti-Semitic. So I think we hit them where it hurts, their pocketbook. And we have the right not to purchase and not to buy and not to deal with any company that's anti-Semitic. What bothers me is there's so much going on in anti-Semitism in colleges, and why nobody is calling the people that donate all the money to colleges and saying, this is not what college is about. This is not what we're supposed to be seeing. Everybody is equal and has an equal education, okay? I mean, that's just something that really bugs me. But I mean, if you're gonna do anything, you're not gonna do it by standing up and saying, I'm Jewish and you should like me. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So you have to hit them where it hurts. Anybody that is anti-Semitic, and there are companies that are, you write them letters and you say, we, the Jewish people, will not deal with you or purchase from you. And we want you to know that we have a lot of numbers, and that's how we have to fight it. That's how I think.
That is a way. The idea of boycotting, while it can be very cause a lot of tension in a lot of communities, especially because this
theory, then we shouldn't deal with it.
right, exactly. But if I may push back for just a second, what do we say to those people who boycott Israel products because of the way that Israel treats the other, the minority?
Israel has a following, and Israel will be, will do well.
Yeah, so we can do what we can, but the point is not to stay silent, I think.
Well, I don't think that's being silent. I think
No. I'm saying that is a way to show your intentions and stuff like that. But I'm saying that all of these things that we've talked about tonight are about not staying silent. That's what I'm saying.
What worries me is our own government. We don't want this to become like another Nazi Germany. When people like the Kanye West, Ye, and others come out and spout anti-Semitism, when the groups march in streets, in LA when they hang banners over the overpasses about anti-Semitism and do stuff against the Jews, where are our congressmen, senators, where are dignitaries to come out and speak against this, that this is not the way it should be in America? We don't want these people, these groups, the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, all these groups who are walking around in streets painting swastikas on temples, attacking Jewish people. It can't go on. Our government needs to stand up for us. Like in Germany, they needed to stand up for the Jews and didn't at that time.
Okay, we're going to take two more, and then, never mind, one more.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it's always good to just, it's really, like for me, in the past, I have acted out of fear in these sorts of situations and lashed out or kind of blocked people away or something like that. And I always think it's better to sort of get curious and try to understand. I know it's really hard, but and another thing is it's really nice and encouraging when I see people helping each other out. Like I saw something from Bernice King. I don't know if anyone saw, but Bernice King wrote a post about how horrible anti-Semitism is and how it reflects, it hurts all of us. It just doesn't, she's something like, it doesn't just hurt Jews, it hurts everybody. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So just kind of like sort of not making them other, not continuing the process of making us and them, but rather kind of bridging it. Yeah.
Yes. So, I ask you not to be silent, to use your voice, to use your wallets, your pocketbook, to use our community together as a group to fight these injustices, not only anti-Semitism, but anti-immigration, anti-black, anti-Latino, anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ. Whenever you see somebody saying anti a group of people who all they want to do is do good in the world and live their lives, then if a group says that they should not exist, then we know who the actual bad guy is there. So, use your voice. Let us not let these things slide. And let us make a stronger community. Can you hear that song? Okay, I'm gonna need like a 1 minute break after that, so you got him, Betty. Here is our co-president, Betty Adams, with some announcements, and I'm sure a phone number or two.
Okay. I was going to leave that out tonight, but by popular demand, I won't. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you to Student Cantor Dan and everyone who participated, Dr. Dave McFarland, and of course my co-president, who I couldn't live without, Lynn Weinstein. Our Shabbat services are sponsored by Judy and Barry Friedfeld in memory of Barry's mother, Dorothy Friedfeld, Joan and Jack Halpern in memory of Jack's father, David Halpern, Donna and Larry Lopater in honor of Donna's birthday. Happy birthday. Jim and Arlette Hurt, they are grateful to God for their safe return for the season, and so are we. The following donation to the Community Food Pantry is sponsored by Harriet Silverman in memory of her father, Martin Greenberg. And our Saturday, October 29th Shabbat Torah study is sponsored by Linda Phillips and Reuven Kamian in memory of their mothers, Estelle Lair and Frida Kamian, and Hannah Klingsberg in memory of Kenneth Schenkel. Well, things are happening here. We have Adult Education has their entire series on a flyer in the lobby. And in case you didn't know, there's going to be a special price if you want. There are 7 lectures this year, and you can actually pay for all 7 and get a deal. I won't tell you what it is, but it's on the flyer. And you're going to receive the flyer for the first lecture, which is Dr. David Dowlin talking about Jewish Supreme Court justices on November 13th at 3 p.m. That will be in an email, probably first thing Monday. We are also, in case you have questions about adult ed, 561-276-6161, extension 204. And we're having a Shabbat dinner. Yay, November 18th to honor our clergy. And Rabbi Steve will be back by then as well. And also to welcome our new members. There are flyers in the lobby. You can see Sue Wexler tonight if you want to sign up. Sign up quickly because the cutoff is going to be a firm cutoff. I heard about that. And in case you're out there and you need to call about it, you'll also be getting an email about that as well. But in case you don't see it, here is the number to call to get information about that, 561-276-6161, extension 124. And save the date for a Hanukkah dinner, party, and service. That's going to be December 23rd, Friday, December 23rd. Details will be out soon, but just put that in your calendar because you don't want to miss it, and we don't want you to miss it. Torah study at 12:30 tomorrow on Zoom, and I think I've covered it all, but in case I didn't, anything? I knew it. Shabbat Shalom from me.
I hope everybody had the opportunity to scan through email this afternoon and read a Shabbat message from Israel from Rabbi Moss. He will be sending us Shabbat messages in between the wonderful bicycle ride that he's doing to raise funds for some of his favorite organizations in Israel. So if you haven't had a chance, please take some time over the weekend to see those messages. And want to welcome the Birkenfeld family, who's getting a little additional taste of Shabbat evening. Andrew will become bar mitzvah next Saturday morning, and Rabbi Ali Cohen will be joining us, and joining Cantor Dan and Dr. Dave for the Friday night service next Friday night as we welcome Andrew into the realm of adult Jewish young man. So please join us for next Friday night, and we welcome everyone to come on Shabbat morning. We will be resuming Shabbat morning services probably around the first of the year for all of us.
We now turn in our prayer books to page 586 as we rise for our concluding prayers for the Aleinu. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. What stories will be told of us when we are here no more? We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated. I'd now like to invite up Lynn Weinstein to help lead us in the Kaddish Yatom.
As we think about our loved ones, we also call to mind not only the lost souls in Pittsburgh who suffered in the Tree of Life synagogue on a Shabbat morning 4 years ago. We also remember the lost lives of all who suffered from anti-Semitic acts throughout our world in the generations before us, as well as those who suffered from gun violence in our current world. It is so hard for all of us to imagine all of the violence that goes on throughout our world. The violence in Iran right now is unspeakable as well. Yes, they may be others to some of us, but they are still, as Cantor Dan said, part of humankind, our brothers, our sisters, and our cousins. This Shabbat, we are remembering members of the Temple Sinai family whose yortzites are being observed in their family homes this week. Their plaques are kindled along the walls in our sanctuary, and they include Jack Aaron, Dr. Maurice O. Belson, Joseph Cohen, Renee Martha Cohen, Stella Cohen, Helen DeFries, Erwin Glick, Emmanuel Grohr, David Halpern, Charles Mickelson, Jacob Raymond, Ruth Shapiro, and Leo Yarfitz. Also, yortzites during this week include Robert Davidoff, Dorothy Friedfeld, Martin Greenberg, Frida Kamian, Gerald Krupnikoff, Estelle Lair, Anna Lubert, Linda Murnick, Bernard Plaut, and Charles Vogel. As I gesture around our sanctuary, if you are observing a yortzeit this week or this day, please rise and state a name. And friends at home who are praying with us this evening, please recite the names of those who are for whom you are observing yortzites, as we all stand and join together with the Jewish communities throughout the world on this Shabbat and recite together the Mourner's Kaddish. We're on page 598 in our Siddur. And together, Yitgadal v'Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, B'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal Shemei d'Kudusha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel and all humanity, to which we join together and say, Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. We conclude our service tonight on page 625 with Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach V'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'ed Nasa V'chefso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Ve'hu yeh v'tifara. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. We join together with the Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. B'te'avon. Please join us in the back for some nash, some oneg, and a little bit of kiddush as well.